The death of one of Hollywood's most legendary actresses was supposed to be a tragic accident, but new evidence has come to light that may change everything. We've heard the story so many times. The 22-year-old blonde bombshell who died in a plane crash while on her way to a screen test for what would have been her first starring role. But is this all there really is to the story? Let's find out. This is the untold story of Natalie Wood. Natalie was born in San Francisco on July 20th, 1938, to Russian immigrant parents. By the time she was 2 years old, she had been dubbed the Russian Shirley Temple by the press after appearing in several local TV commercials. Her acting career began in earnest when she was discovered by a talent scout at the age of 13. She subsequently appeared in several films throughout the late 1940s, including her first feature film. By the end of the 1950s, she had starred in over 20 movies and had become one of the most popular teen idols of her day. She also became close friends with one of her classmates from high school, the son of a wealthy businessman, Robert Wagner. The two hit it off right away and soon began dating. Natalie had just turned 18. Her career continued to go from strength to strength in the early 1960s, starring in the successful films Splendor in the Grass, All the Fine Young Cannibals, Love with the Proper Stranger, and many more. In 1961, she was nominated for an Academy Award for her performance as an unwed mother in the film. Reputations precede her. She was still going strong in 1962 when she co-starred alongside Warren Beatty in the film version of the Broadway play, The World of the Married. Although the film received mixed reviews, Natalie's performance was praised by critics. A New York Times review reads, "Miss Wood plays the role of a young wife who finds herself irresistibly attracted to a man other than her husband. Miss Wood brings the character a touching vulnerability and a disarming sweetness. But despite her burgeoning film career, it was clear to everyone that Natalie's true love was her husband, Robert Wagner, who she married in 1957. They would spend much of their time together, sailing the Caribbean or cruising around Europe. Her close friend, actress Linda Evans, once said of her, she loved to sail. That was her thing. It was like being on land, only better because you could get away from people." In fact, on one of these trips, Natalie became pregnant with the couple's first child, only for it to end in tragedy in late 1965. After suffering a miscarriage, she developed postpartum depression and found herself unable to work. She told her friend, "I don't want to do anything now. I don't even want to talk." After some time off to recuperate, she made a comeback of sorts in the 1966 film, The Protégé. The following year, she returned to the big screen again, starring in the movie. In 1968, she got another leading role in the film. Both films were produced by her husband, Robert Wagner. At this point, it seemed that Natalie was finally happy, both professionally and personally. Her career was taking off again, and she was able to balance that with her personal life, thanks to her supportive husband. And yet, somehow, it wasn't enough. The couple's relationship began to crumble in late 1969. There are conflicting reports as to why they split up. Natalie's sister claimed that Robert was abusive towards her, and that he had actually broken her nose on one occasion. However, the police report filed at the time did not mention any injuries. Other reports claim that Natalie cheated on Robert with her Brainstorm co-star, the married Gene Hackman. Whatever the reason, though, the couple eventually separated and Natalie moved into her own place. But that didn't last long. By January 1972, the couple had reconciled and were back together, now expecting their first child together. It was during this time that Natalie decided to take a break from the limelight and focus on starting a family. She told reporters, "I'm giving up my career for now. I want to devote myself full-time to raising a family." On November 28, 1972, Natalie gave birth to their daughter, Natasha. Just 3 months later, however, Natalie suffered another miscarriage, this time at 4 months along. As one can imagine, the stress of losing another child caused a great deal of strain on her marriage, and she and Robert drifted apart once again. On October 28, 1976, Natalie and Robert announced their separation. Their divorce would become final in May 1977. Around this time, Natalie was offered the lead role in the film, but she turned it down in order to spend more time with her daughter. Instead, she accepted the role of a lifetime, Maria, in the film. She knew the role well, having played the part on stage in the mid-1950s. The film was a huge success, earning over $300 million at the box office against a budget of just $4 million. It was everything that Natalie had hoped for, and more. During filming, she had nothing but good things to say about her experience. "I think this is the best material I've ever worked with. Working with that kind of material is an actor's dream. There is something very exciting about it. You never have a dull moment." The same could not be said, however, for her personal life. Around this time, she began a relationship with British bandleader Chris Cavan, but that fizzled out after just a few weeks. By February 1977, Natalie was head over heels in love and told her friend that she might be getting engaged. But little did she know that this would be the last conversation they would ever have. On November 29, 1981, at the age of 43, Natalie Wood was found dead aboard the yacht owned by her and Robert Wagner. She had been reported missing earlier that evening after failing to return from a dinner party on Catalina Island. A search and rescue mission was launched, but it was until around 8 a.m. the next morning that her body was recovered from the water. The official cause of death was ruled as accidental drowning. The police believed that Natalie had fallen off the boat and had become disoriented and exhausted before succumbing to the cold waters of the Pacific Ocean. Her close friend, actress Pia Zadora, refused to believe that she would have simply fallen off the boat and into the water. She said, "If she accidentally fell off the boat, why wasn't he, the crew, or anybody else alerted to the fact that she was in the water? The truth will come out. I know it. She would never have jumped into those waters." There were rumors that her death was a suicide, or that she had been murdered by her husband, although no evidence could ever be found to support either claim. Several theories emerged over the years. Some claimed that Natalie fell off the boat while trying to tie a loose mooring line. Others speculated that she drowned after saving the life of the boat's 19-year-old male crew member, who had been drinking heavily and had passed out. Although the police had suspected foul play, the district attorney at the time decided against launching a criminal investigation. In 2011, however, new evidence came to light that suggested that Natalie's death was no accident. According to People magazines, investigators learned that Natalie had been drinking heavily and taking a number of sedatives and muscle relaxants in the days leading up to her death. They also noted that she had a small amount of marijuana in her system, but none of the substances were at a level that would suggest that she was under the influence at the time of her death. However, a blood test revealed that she had been taking a drug called chloral hydrate, which can make its users drowsy. Investigators believe that she might have taken the drug in an attempt to help her sleep on the boat as she had been complaining of insomnia prior to the trip. Further evidence came in the form of scratches and bruises on her body, which may have been consistent with someone trying to climb over the side of the boat. However, what really set off alarm bells was the discovery of a set of male fingerprints on the transom of the boat. These fingerprints matched those of a certain Captain Dennis Davern, who had been the captain of Wagner's boat on the night in question. According to Davern's testimony, he had helped Natalie onto the transom so that she could retrieve one of her sandals, which had fallen into the water. He then left the boat briefly to go to the bathroom, after which he noticed that she had vanished. When he returned to the boat, he let Robert Wagner know that Natalie was missing, and they spent the next 2 hours searching for her before alerting the authorities. However, the police failed to dust for fingerprints at the time, and the only ones that they obtained belonged to Natalie herself. But what truly happened to Natalie Wood remains a mystery to this day.